Hello, everybody, and welcome to episode 25 of Two Old Guys Talking About Stuff Nobody Cares About. I'm Curtis Coons, and with me, as always, is my good friend.
Hi, I'm Victor. Hi.
Victor Garcia.
Hi.
We're coming from Valley TV Productions here in lovely Grain Valley, and you can catch us on Real TV Now. That's right, go to Facebook and type in Real TV Now, all one word, Real TV Now. Or go to are we on the website yet? The RealTVNow.com?
The RealTVNow.com will be up on Friday.
Friday.
Yep, on Friday.
We ought to have a parade or something for that. We're also on YouTube. If you go to YouTube, no spaces. That's the secret. Real TV Now, all one word. We are on YouTube.
And you're late.
And I'm late.
You're very late.
I'm running late. And of course, we've got the duck. We've got the copper cock sitting on the shelf.
Is that a mallard or a duck?
I don't know, but the head, it's wood, and the head turns, and it has a sticker of $2 on it. Originally, I thought it was $12. $2 for a wooden duck.
What a bargain.
This was part of my mom's collection. My mother, of course, passed away 2.5 years ago.
What a bargain.
It is $2 for a wooden duck. You won't find that in other countries.
Not in this county. Well, how was your Turkey Day? Since we're broadcasting after.
We didn't celebrate Thanksgiving on Thursday. We celebrated on Saturday. And I'll tell you what, much better deal to celebrate on Saturday than the actual Thanksgiving Day, because all the stores are open when you're fixing all your meals and stuff, and you realize you didn't get cream cheese or whatever.
You can go get it.
Go down to the store, where if you were doing a Thanksgiving evening thing, everything closed on Thursday at 2 o'clock.
We did our family thing on Saturday with my sister Mona.
Yeah, on Thursday we didn't eat anything special. I think we had Mexican.
Mexican
or Chinese, I can't remember.
I love fast food. I love fast food. And it's so exciting that the new Whataburger opens up today in Independence.
Yeah, the one in Lee Summit. My daughter and my son-in-law went like at 2 a.m. and spent 3 hours waiting like a week ago. It's crazy.
It's almost worth it, because if you've had Whataburger, it's really, really good. It's really good stuff. I mean, it puts so many other fast food chains to shame. If you've had Whataburger. No buts.
Yes, here's the big butt.
Here's a big butt.
It tastes just like High Boy. It's the same meat. It's the same flavor, same quality as High Boy. Except High Boy's got the special sauce and no lines. Oh, I wanted to tell you real quick back on Thanksgiving. Just want to skip back. First Thanksgiving, 1621. So this was the 400th Thanksgiving.
Right?
I've been there for most of them. 400 Thanksgiving.
400 Thanksgiving.
Yeah, did you even hear anything about it?
Nope, I didn't.
Google when was the first Thanksgiving. Now, they may not have had it consecutive every year, but the first one when they broke bread when the Pilgrims broke bread with the Native Americans was 1621. So actually 400 years ago.
So I wonder if they had green bean casserole.
I don't know. I'm guessing
was on? Maize was on the menu.
I bet there was a lot of corn and a lot of turkey, and then had the Irish even brought the potato over yet?
No, not yet.
So
famine hadn't started yet.
First Thanksgiving. What are we talking? We had I don't know.
I'm going to guess they had turkey.
They had turkey.
Because those were probably abundant back then.
You think they had venison up north? Because this would have been up in the northeast.
They probably had raccoon.
Yeah, and they had those funny hats.
They had the funny hats with the buckle on them.
Yeah. You think they had raccoon, maybe some possum. What would they have eaten? Buffalo? Who knows?
Well, turkey was the main course, I believe.
Yeah.
So I can tell you that I remember being in history class, and it was a big deal that, it was a turkey and maize. They would say maize corn. Corn, basically corn. So I think you look like your grandma.
Oh, Victor.
That was a.
Was that our trip back from Vegas?
That was our trip back from Vegas. Where we're going the southern route back.
Right, we went the northern route there.
Yeah, went the northern route and was scary because I drove. You remember me driving most of the way there.
That tunnel?
Yes,
it was like Denver, south of Denver.
It was like
we were in a tunnel for seemed like 10 minutes.
Yeah, it was like but it. And then the signs that say "Watch for falling rocks," and it was 2:00 in the morning, and you said, "How would we know?"
Yeah, with no light on or anything. How would we know? Well, we'd know. And they'd have like we have deer crossing, and they'd have silhouettes of animals. We didn't even know what the hell they would think with horns and tails and beards and shit. Remember that?
Moose. They had a lot of moose.
Yeah, they had
signs.
a lot of different weird stuff.
Yeah.
But anyway, we took the north route to get to Vegas, which was through Denver and down.
You want to tell the story about the south route?
Yeah. Well, first off, we on the way back we thought, let's go the south route, and I like the south route better because it's less up and down and shit. It's just flat.
But it's just all desert and mountains.
But we're out of Vegas. I don't know, half hour, an hour. You head south out of Vegas. You go through what is that?
Arizona.
Hoover Dam.
You go through Arizona and New Mexico on the way back.
You go through Hoover Dam, right?
Yep.
To get out, and we went down in what's a basin. You know, you're in a giant, basically a bowl.
Like a
10
mile
bowl. And you know you're in a bowl. And so we go down this basin. And there's not one tree in this basin. It's all like vegetation that looked like wheat. I'm sure it wasn't wheat, but it was shorter than wheat. And it was a 4-lane divided highway. There's a divider in the middle. And not one tree. Remember that? Not one tree, not one car. And we get close to one tree, one giant palm tree.
Within 10 miles of...
Within 10 miles, one giant palm tree. And there were skid marks up to it where a car had crashed against it.
The one tree.
The one tree in 10 miles.
And
10 miles either way, so we're talking 20 miles.
You can see the way the car's tracks
went. Yeah, the car
stopped
hit
right
and
at the tree.
And I thought, well, that's interesting. Remember that?
Well, I said, look, one tree. And he hit it.
He hit it. One tree. That had to have been planned, I would think.
Well, you think about if there had been one person, that person would have been dead.
And then we stopped at a place that sold Native American sculptures and things like that.
I'm not going to tell the whole... We can't tell the whole story, but I made a joke about it.
All you said, we said, what do you... I said, I'm part Native American Cherokee. Well, my friend's Cherokee. Everything Cherokee. And you said,
I said, those Cherokee really got around.
Those Cherokee women really got around.
Because there was a lot of Cherokee.
7 foot tall, long, wearing leather Native American turned around and said, "You call my grandmother whore?" And we left.
Yeah.
Remember that?
He was 7 foot tall, yeah. So, but anyway.
You call my grandmother whore?
Well, we had a good Thanksgiving. We spent it with my sister Mona a little bit and hung out with her and her boyfriend Mike, and we with her kids and hung out and had some food and then most of the group went to go see the new movie Sing 2.
Sing 2?
Yeah.
Is that a Marvel movie about the guy with the karate?
No, remember the movie Sing? The animation. Anyway, it was the second version came out.
With animated animals.
Yeah, with Bono has a voice in it.
Oh my gosh!
And
one of my least favorite people has a voice.
There's someone else. There's a lot of famous people in these movies. You know, they voiced. Oh, The Rock was in it.
Yeah. Oh, he's always good.
Yeah, he's always good in anything he does. I loved him in Moana.
Yeah, I like the song. I sing that when my grandbaby gets in the car with me. We put on "You're Welcome."
Right, that's a good song.
You're welcome.
yeah, that is such a good song.
When you're staring at a demigod.
So,
he's got a beautiful singing voice, by the way.
It's not bad. So what I mentioned before we started filming about people going through music phases. I'm going through a new music phase.
What's your latest music phase?
Billy Idol.
I've seen him live in concert.
Billy Idol. I go through these phases where I start listening to a group obsessively. Even from the 80s. I went through the Chicago. Remember the group Chicago?
Oh yeah.
I went through that phase because there's a lot of cool.
30 some albums.
There's tons of cool videos on YouTube of them doing live concerts, and then I got into Billy Joel for a while.
Yeah.
Then it was ELO for a minute.
Yeah.
Which I love ELO. Loggins and Messina caught my eye.
Well, I was in high school. Kenny Loggins
was a big fan. You're a big
popular.
fan.
I loved Kenny.
Oh yeah. And then just recently I realized I'm in a Billy Idol phase. I don't know why. I listened to Hot in the City like 10 times on the way here. See, that's a great song. It sticks in your head. So I like that.
Flesh for Fantasy. Flesh.
Yep, that's a good one.
Fantasy.
Other than that, that's my music phases differ. I mean, I went through a really long Billy Joel, his old stuff.
Of course, I graduated in 81. You graduated in 82.
Yep.
The big album that came out when we were seniors was, of course, the Eagles. Eagles Long Run.
Right.
Which every song on that album except one was a commercial hit. I like the one that wasn't a commercial hit, which is The Greeks Don't Want No Freaks. The Greeks Don't Want No Freaks.
I remember.
All of the others got a lot of airplay. But when I got my driver's license, which was in '79, Bob Seger was the thing.
Yeah.
You know, and I had a 8-track player in the Thunderbird that I first drove, and I had that Live Bullet and Stranger in Town were the two that I had, and I wore them both out on 8-track, and then I got a car that had a cassette in it, and I wore them both out on cassette. But I had a bad habit of, if I liked a song, I'd play it over and over and over, so I'd flip through the track and get to the right track, and on 8-track.
I remember Kevin McDowell got this advanced cassette player in his Pinto.
Mine would record, remember?
Yeah.
The Blawpunk would record in my 280Z.
If you hit fast forward, it would automatically go to the next song and stop and start playing the next song.
People that grew up on CDs don't understand how starved we were for good technology.
Oh, right. I mean,
we'd sit at home with a cassette recorder,
recording songs off the radio,
waiting for a song to come on the radio that we liked.
Did you ever call in for a request?
Oh, all the time.
What did you request?
Bob Seger, usually. I went through phases too. I liked Kenny Loggins and Bob Seger. And also, I liked a lot of country, and you didn't like country, but The Devil Went Down to Georgia came out just a few weeks before I got my driver's license, and that was a big hit.
That was a big
deal. I listened to a lot of, you would probably, Dr. Demento.
Oh, yeah, I listened
to Dr. Dr. Demento.
Yep. When you talk about country music, I worked, my first radio gig was at 61 Country.
Ooh.
I was in college and got the internship to be at 61 Country.
61?
Oh, yeah. I worked with David Bryan.
Went to a thrift store 2 months ago. Guess what they had? Locked up in the case, 61 Country belt buckle.
I remember those.
I should have bought the damn thing.
I remember those being real popular at the station. That and I met the guy that did Swingin'.
Oh, John Anderson.
I met him. He came through the station one time, and then I met Dwight Yoakam.
Yeah.
Met him. They did a concert at the Lone Star in Westport, and I got to sit at the radio station.
Which one? Guitars and Cat.
Guitars. Yeah. I got to sit at the radio station reserved table, and so I was sitting there with David Bryan was the music director at the time, so I sat with him, and I was just like,
there's a lot of
young and not knowing really how to absorb all this. Oh, let's go backstage and meet him.
David Lawrence.
David Bryan went on right after him in the mornings.
Now, I was a big country music fan, and when Elvis died, they played a lot of his stuff on the country station, which I never understood because they called him the king of rock and roll. When he died, he had Moody Blues and Way Down were two songs that were currently out there when he died, and they became even bigger hits because he had passed away. But country music, early 80s, I don't know if you knew this, just died. All the radio stations throughout the country just kind of turned their back on country music, and there's one guy that popped up, and anyway, he is credited. He and that John Anderson that you talked about that came out with Swingin'. Mm-hmm. There's a little girl in our neighborhood. Mm-hmm. Anyway, that was kind of appealed to everybody's song because it was just so weird. But the guy that is credited for saving country music in the 80s, the reason we have country music now, Randy Travis.
Okay, he came out. Yeah. Oh, him and when I was working at 61 Country, I was part-time, not full-time. But there was the Judds had come out too.
Yeah,
they came
out.
That
was mid-80s.
And then Grandpa was their big, huge hit. And then who else was there? But they played a lot of like old stuff. And was Johnny Cash big with you?
Well, yeah, I found that we found Pat Boone at the Johnny Cash Super Rally. We've talked about that on another.
Can you see that?
I have Googled that, and I have tried to find what other acts were there because there were several. Of course, June Carter, his wife.
Oh yeah.
She came out and played alongside Johnny, and they did some duets together. But he didn't do a lot of his hits at the Johnny because he was
Because talking about drinking beer and
Yeah, he was in his
doing drugs
religious
and
phase.
smoking.
You know,
Yeah.
Ring of Fire,
Yeah.
which I always thought was about venereal disease.
he had that song about I don't know the name of it.
What is it?
It was
I could name it. You tell me a lyric.
okay. The lyric was, "I woke up this morning and went downstairs and drank a beer."
Yeah,
Something like that.
yeah.
And I'm sure I want people
Yeah.
to write in and tell me the name of that song. But it's, do you remember that song?
Oh yeah.
I remember, but my dad bought me, I was so little. And I like Johnny Cash. I like
Yeah.
Walk the Line. You know, we're living in the city. And I love Johnny Cash. He was on TV or something.
Mm.
And he went and bought me a Johnny Cash album. And, you know, little kid like I was, with
Right.
8 siblings,
Right.
this was mine. This was my album, you know.
Uh-huh.
And I'd listen to it over and over and over again. And my brothers and sisters would be just like, "Are you serious? You're listening to this again?" And Walk the Line was on it, and I can't remember now. But it was the one, I remember the cover had him like standing on like the side of a hill or a mountain or something
He
with a
had so
guitar in
many.
his
It
hand.
might have been a greatest hits one.
It
Might
was
have been a
really
greatest
good. I mean, I listened to that. In fact, I'm going to try to download that on my Amazon.
Went to St. Louis one time to try to buy a car, and the people couldn't meet with me, so I had to be stuck there a day. I called my wife at the time, Kelly. The kids were little. She flew the kids out. We flew, and I picked them up at the St. Louis airport. So we were stuck a day in St. Louis, and I bought a Johnny Cash CD for like $4, and we played it in the car that I had driven there, and they just became instant giant fans of Johnny Cash.
He's got a great voice.
Yeah.
Great voice.
Yeah. Mr. Hayden, our music teacher, our band teacher, hated Johnny Cash because he only got 3 chords that he plays. But he was, yeah.
Well, you know, as far as the music man, he's right. But if you look at Elton John's most of his songs are 4 chords.
Right.
And I was talking
And
to
on
my
a piano.
and I was talking to my brother-in-law about that, who's a big music person, you know, plays in bands and saxophone and bands all over the city. He said, "Yeah, you're right. There's only 4 major chords in that. In most of his music, there's only 4 chords." So, and you know, he didn't write most of the lyrics of his music. He
No.
wrote the music. He didn't write the lyrics.
But Johnny did.
Bernie Taupin wrote all
Yeah.
that.
Yeah, Johnny did. Johnny Cash wrote his.
But you know what? If you think about, I swear, if you think about country legends that would not just cross over, but other bands and other artists were just always going into like Johnny Cash about what an influence he was.
Yeah.
I mean, not so much June, but you know,
Yeah.
but she was part of a big country act as a
Yeah, the
youngster.
Carter family.
The
wasn't
Carter family, yeah,
it? Yeah. Did you see that movie?
yes, yes,
Joaquin Phoenix and everything?
that was really good.
Yeah, yeah. And he didn't look like Johnny Cash at all, and it kind of didn't even sound like him, but he portrayed the character
Yeah,
really good.
yeah.
And Reese Witherspoon.
Yeah, and then they all sang their own stuff, and I guess he
Yeah.
learned to play guitar for that band,
that's-
for that movie. He learned to play guitar, which
You
I
know,
can't even learn that.
He got, after I was into country music a little bit, and I'm talking about I was probably 11 and 12, they got the Outlaws. You know, it was him and Waylon Jennings, sometimes David Allan Coe. They called them the Outlaws. And then later on, he teamed up with Waylon Jennings, Christopher Christopherson, Johnny Cash. Waylon Jennings, Christopher Christopherson, Johnny Cash.
I know you're talking. I know
There's
there's
another one. Willie.
Willie Nelson,
Willie
yeah.
Waylon,
Yep.
Johnny Cash, yeah. And they were the Highwaymen. And, you know, the only one alive, I think, of the Highwaymen is Chris Christopherson.
Who I never really thought he was really a good singer.
Well,
Did you really think he was? I mean, you listen to his music, it's like,
no, but
But he had some cool friends.
Songwriting. He
Right.
was more known for the songwriting. And, you know, his big, when The Star Is Born came out with him and Barbara Streisand,
Mm-hmm.
I didn't know who he was at that point. I had listened to him sing, but he was always never the publicized one. Never was, but when him and you know, just a little bit of history, Elvis Presley turned down that role
to be in.
to be in The Star Is Born.
Oh, he did.
Christopherson. Elvis was so sick of those movies, they made him physically sick.
Well, he had to do all those movies. He was
Those
contracted.
terrible movies. And
And
then
you know, they talk about how his manager basically forced him to do all those movies that he didn't want to do.
Colonel Tom.
And
Yeah.
and then he kind of lost out. He felt like he lost out on his momentum because the Beatles came out,
Right.
and they kind of took over the music scene
Right.
back in the mid '60s.
And he also, he went in the military for a while. Elvis went in the military
He was drafted.
for a while. He was drafted and didn't dodge it. Elvis went on in there. And, and he was big hit. And then he was drafted in the military. And then he came out and the Beatles had, the British invasion happened.
Yep.
And he felt like he did kind of get pushed back a little bit.
Well, I'm thinking about, like, when you say the Highwaymen,
Yeah.
I
That
I
one
autom-
song, The Highwaymen. was huge.
immediately, my brain goes to the Traveling Wilburys.
Yeah.
George Harrison,
Yeah.
the guy from ELO,
Jeff Lynne.
Jeff Lynne,
Tom Petty.
Tom Petty,
Roy Orbison.
Who was that? That was in that. Another big name that was in that. Tom Petty,
Yeah.
Roy Orbison,
they're all,
George Harrison,
They're all dead.
Jeff Lynne.
Except Jeff Lynne.
Jeff
aren't
Lynne's
they?
still alive. Yeah, he's still alive. There was someone else that was a folk singer, still famous today. He's still alive. His son is the lead singer of his own band. Oh my God!
Bob Dylan.
Bob Dylan. Yes. You ever watch the videos to that?
Yeah.
Those are good. Those are good videos. They're entertaining to watch.
Bob Dylan was huge.
And he
I
wrote a
was
lot of
big-
songs
Yeah.
that a lot of people made famous.
Yeah.
He wrote his music catalog is just huge. And I don't know if he ever sold his music catalog, but it would be majored hundreds of thousands of millions of dollars.
I karaoke quite a bit, and there are artists that I never was really fond of. I never really liked a lot of Willie Nelson's music, but I noticed when I'll pick a song that I feel comfortable karaokeing with, and I sing it, and then written by Willie Nelson.
He did
pops
write
up on the screen.
He did write
And
a lot of
Tom
stuff.
T. Hall. That's another one.
Yep.
That
He just died a few months ago.
2 months ago. Yeah.
His credits are
Oh, unbelievable!
crazy.
Unbelievable.
And he only did like a couple of songs himself that I know of.
Yeah, and most of the songs he did himself, somebody else, he wrote it and did it. Somebody else did it and made it more popular.
What was his big hit? No, he wasn't King of the Road. Who was that?
Well, he had a lot of big hits, but he had Little Bitty, that
He did.
Alan Jackson did. He
No, but what was
he
his-
wrote it.
But what song did Tom T. Hall do?
Faster Horses, Younger Women, Older Whiskey, More Money.
Those are
Old
catchy
Dogs,
titles.
Children, Watermelon Wine. Remember that? Old Dogs and Children.
Those are snappy titles.
Yeah. Tom T. Hall.
Yeah,
But he was
legendary writer.
yeah.
Legendary writer.
But I never appreciated his talent of writing until I started doing karaoke and realized that half the songs I do.
Have you ever done a Yoko Ono karaoke?
No. And I can't say despise because I try not to hate anybody. But,
She's on the list,
oh yeah. She's
along with
my
another
top
person.
3 people I just can't despise. Yoko Ono, and Yoko Ono. And we've talked about Yoko when the guy shot John Lennon.
Yeah.
She was standing right next to him. I always said if that guy aimed a little to the left, he'd have been a national hero.
Have a statue.
Yeah, it was that. On this day, this man eradicated Yoko Ono from the earth. He'd be president now. That guy would be president.
He would be really huge.
Yeah, oh, he'd be president.
He'd have a
we talked
highway.
about that
Have a
on-
highway named after him.
Yeah, it was Hinckley? Was it Hinckley or the other one?
It was
David Chapman.
Mark David Chapman.
Mark David Chapman.
He'd have the Mark David
Does
Chapman
sound
Memorial
like-
Hallway.
Always got him confused with Harry Chapin for some reason. Yeah, we've done shows. We talked about Kennedy
Yeah.
getting shot. Well, on the 22nd of November, just last week, was the 58th anniversary of Kennedy getting
Wow.
shot. And, of course, and his son and him was supposed to come back to the
Dealey Plaza.
Dealey Plaza there. Right, it's right next to that book conservatory. Anyway, they were supposed to come back, and I guess they didn't, but there's a lot of people still parading around saying to Kennedy,
I picture that being like the Zorro the Gay Blade, where he walks and goes, "Hello, here I am."
but the thing is, if I were going to be resurrected and come back, I wouldn't want to come back to the last place I was alive if I was violently killed. Just like I'm sure when Jesus comes back, he ain't going to appreciate all the crosses, he had, right?
Well,
right?
who was the sponsor of the Kennedy thing? Target?
Yeah. That's terrible.
it's yeah. He didn't come back. Are they still
That's
waiting?
terrible. And you know who killed Kennedy? Who actually pulled the trigger? It was not Oswald. It was Charles Harrelson, known mob enforcer, hitman for the mob. Charles Harrelson, who is, honest to God, I'm not making this up, the actor Woody Harrelson's actual father. Woody Harrelson, I don't think ever met him. He's been in prison the whole time. But,
Right. He didn't grow up with him. Didn't really meet him or
you know,
anything.
shooting happened. It's chaos. President's dead. They take the motorcade off immediately. Secret Service looks around and grabs suspicious of people. There's a bunch of homeless people at the grassy knoll. Right? The grassy knoll, little tunnel comes out, and there's the grassy knoll. And so they take them, and they don't have ID. And they take them, and they take pictures of them and everything. And they say, "Oh, we've got the shooter. This guy was in there." So they let the people at the grassy
Move
knoll
along.
go.
Move along.
Yeah, move along. They let them go. No ID or anything. Anyway, they're thumbing through the evidence a month later, like, that's Charles Harrelson. That's known mob enforcer. He's an assassin for the mob, right?
Yep. There's a
And so they know it was Charles Harrelson that pulled the trigger. Now, Lee Harvey was a patsy, and we've talked about what happened to look at this. Here. Remember this shot? Live on
Well-
and now we're walking him out the tunnel with 700 people surrounding him, and they've none been frisked.
there's a
Hey,
there is a documentary I just watched within the last 6 days on Showtime. Oliver Stone produced this documentary
this got to be true.
on the Kennedy assassination. And it is so riveting. I use that word riveting because I was glued. I seriously was glued
He did
from
now,
start.
He did JFK.
He did the movie JFK, but
he
now
really
this is
got absorbed in it.
this is the after. I mean, this is just done recently, and it's a great documentary. If people get a chance to watch that, it's on, I believe, Showtime. If you get Showtime,
Yeah.
watch it, search it, and it's.
What's it called?
I'm gonna look it up.
Oliver Stone does JIFK. Remember the? Do you remember the Married with Children episode when the movie JFK came out? Kelly, remember Kelly, the airhead blonde?
Yep.
She said it's a conspiracy, like with that JIF guy.
Oliver Stone. Oh, JFK documentary. It is called JFK Revisited Through the Looking Glass. And it is absolutely, I am not kidding you, it's amazing.
Remember, there was all sorts of conspiracies that he was still alive. Remember that?
Oh, yeah. I remember that. In fact, that came out, whether he was still alive, and about the same time within, I don't remember, but there was the rumors that Elvis was still alive.
Yeah.
And he was living inside of Graceland. And I'm sure he had to hide every time a tourist group came through.
Coming out of the shower.
Yeah.
You
Like,
know. Oh, it's true.
But there's
Why
a
can't
picture.
we get in the bathroom?
There's a picture.
Maintenance is in there. Don't come in there.
There's a picture of someone superimposed, like a picture of him, like peeking around a curtain, like like something like that, which is
Peeking.
like looking around the curtain that he was really there. So it's kind of like ridiculous.
And of course, apparently they spelled his middle name Aaron incorrectly, and that's proof enough right there. And millions and millions of dollars of life insurance on Elvis, and they never turned in the policies to collect life insurance. Never.
That's unusual.
So that tells you right there,
He's-
Elvis is still alive.
Well, how old would he be?
Well, he was the same age as my mom. He'd be 83 or 84.
He's.
Yeah. Him and Hitler were hanging out in Argentina.
I was gonna say, yeah. I mean, maybe he's the reason JFK didn't show up. They were still hanging out.
They're still hanging out in Argentina with Hitler.
So, but JFK and his son did not come back.
Yeah, Hitler's bungee cord jumping off a bridge. in
He did not
Argentina.
come back. So, well,
You know what?
don't say why do people think that. That's where you're going. Why do people?
Why do people believe
It's not
it's
even.
like my mind is wired. When someone tells me something and it makes sense, okay, I believe it. But when someone tells me something that it doesn't make sense, I don't believe it. You know, they're not. You know, they didn't put
There's a little.
a tracking device in my arm.
There's not just one source of information anymore.
Well, yeah, there's the real stuff and there's the fake stuff.
Well, I mean, if you go online, and you look, or you go to the library. Go to the library. If you don't believe what's coming out online, go to the library. There's still books in the library that you can do all the research and look up things. But, I mean, when someone says, well, if it's online, you don't know if it's real or not. You don't know if it's fake. There's a thing called the library. And sometimes you still need a card, but I don't know if you do or not. But you can go in there and research things. I think you can even get some of the Library of Congress online now.
Yeah.
So there's your research. Just look it up.
Quote, 86% of everything that you read on the internet is the truth. And that was a quote from Abraham Lincoln during at Woodstock.
Yeah. When he gave his speech at Woodstock?
When he gave his speech at Woodstock.
Right. Was that before or after don't do the brown acid?
Yeah. He said, 7 years ago, somebody had a bad trip out there in the brown acid. And don't eat the yellow jelly beans.
And then Crazy Joe McDonald came up and sang the Vietnam song.
But
I know this stuff. Odd memory, right?
Have you ever seen, years ago, when Jay Leno hosted the Tonight Show, he would go out on the street and ask kids questions.
Yep. Yes.
And they just want to reach through and choke them.
There's Comedy Central does that one guy where it's not the one guy that talks real loud.
Not Billy on the Street.
No, I love Billy on the Street, though. I love Billy on the Street. But there's another guy who goes to different events, and he'll go out on the street in New York, and he'll ask people.
Yeah.
Like, he was somewhere, and he said, how many states are there?
Yeah.
And they couldn't answer. And it said, what came first, the American Revolutionary War or the Civil War? And some guy went, I think Vietnam was actually the first one.
Yeah.
That's what we're looking at. That's what we're doing. That's what we're dealing with.
I don't want to touch on.
Yeah, don't go.
Anything
No, don't.
But I will. 5 years ago, watching TV, 5-6 years ago, watching TV, and they had the KU-MU rival. And they were interviewing one of the players at KU, and he goes, This rivalry goes back to the Civil War. It goes back almost 20 years. So it would have been 25 years ago now.
I'm glad it was a KU player.
It was a KU player. This goes back
Ashby's
to the
not
Civil
gonna-
War almost 20 years.
Ashby's not going to like that, but oh well. She's a KU.
But, I didn't say it. I just watched it on news and spit out my coffee. That's what I did.
You're right.
What?
There's
Yeah, for them to air that. They're intentionally calling somebody an idiot.
But we were talking about people going down the street and asking questions, and it's just amazing that, they wouldn't air my interview because I would be able to answer a lot of those. They wouldn't.
They're not going to air anybody.
They're not going to air you. They're not going to air you because you're not funny, because you're going to know the right answers to those simple civics questions.
That, and I'm just not funny.
No, you're
Victor,
not.
I'm just not funny.
You're just not funny. But if you think about the people and their answers, and you can go on YouTube and look some of those interviews up. It's just unbelievable.
Yeah, it's crazy, and it really kind of scares you.
But you and I can say that we tend to, we are actually around social circles that people that we know and that we tend to know those simple facts of life. Simple information.
Most of the people we hang around with could pass the citizenship test.
Right, but
80% of the people out there walking out of school today with a diploma in their hand could not pass the citizenship test. That's what, according to Abraham Lincoln, I read that on the internet. He said that.
I don't get it. But I know the people that watch our broadcast, which we hit a big number, would probably know those basic questions.
Yeah.
But
Patrick Henry, give me liberty or give me high-speed Wi-Fi wireless. Remember that?
Should be free.
Should be free. I think it's going to be. I think that bill that passed, I think...
They're going to make it like a
they're
free...
going to provide rural internet. Once rural internet's out there, and everybody's got to, how are they going to charge for it? I think that... And there are things that should be free. There are things that should be free. Electricity, we shouldn't have to pay for electricity. There should be solar fields set up everywhere.
I'm a big fan of the windmill thing.
Yeah.
I'm a big fan of that.
Yeah, one windmill, just one.
Just over my house.
Yeah. But no, technology's out there that the ridiculous rates that we pay are just stupid. And yeah, we should pay enough to maintenance the lines if the storm comes on, whatever.
Why don't they bury them? Why don't they just start
Every
reburying
line should be buried.
when I lived in Arkansas, this was when I was 19.
Uh-huh.
I lived in Arkansas, and the subdivision that my brother lived in, there were absolutely no above ground
mine too.
wires. Everything was buried. When they built the subdivision, they built everything underneath the ground.
Yeah.
So there's never a chance for storms or anything to blow in. I guess if it hits the substation or something, that's one thing. But
mine too.
There was
they're buried in mine.
nothing.
You want to wrap up? This is episode 25. Yes.
26.
No, it's 25. I looked last week. It was 24. Episode 25 of two old guys talking about stuff that nobody cares about. We're here today with the duck. We're gonna do episode 26. Here
What's
pretty
next?
Quick, and I'm gonna
What's
hold
next?
up the copper cock.
Yeah.
The copper cock. Anyway, we're shooting from Valley TV Production Studios here in Grain Valley. Catch us on Real TV. Now, it is extremely important that you like and share. That's how we get the word out. And I tell you, we've had over 6,000 viewers.
Yes.
So
yeah, they're growing.
of course, 5,300 of them is me just watching myself talk. I joke.
Okay, wrap
40,
it up.
40 at the most. Anyway, I'm Curtis Coons, with me Victor Garcia, and we're shutting her down. And this has been episode 25. Like and share us on Facebook. Like and share us on YouTube. You have a good day.